There's this new trend happening on Reddit, and it's called AntiWork. It's a subreddit. You can look it up. If you look up AntiWork, I'm sure it'll be the first thing that pops up. To some degree, I can understand a little bit of the sentiment. Sometimes you have bosses that suck. Sometimes you have workplaces that suck. But I believe that, for one, doing a good job and having something to fill your time with and to progress at is good. But recently, if you've paid any attention to all the walkouts that are going on, kind of the mass exodus of employees quitting their job, walking out, this is a trend that's just going to keep escalating, I think. And we all know how the job market is right now. You can go get a job anywhere you want. A lot of restaurants that you go to right now will have limited hours because they don't have enough staffing to keep up. A lot of places, grocery stores, gas stations, in Oregon anyways, because it's not self-serve in Oregon. Pretty much everywhere you go, you're seeing this problem of less workers being able to fill the demands of that business. Even the supply chain is getting a little bit of taste of this, because apparently one of the sayings is that there's not enough semi-truck drivers on the road. But I'll tell you, goddamn, there's a lot of semi-trucks on the freeway on I-5 every day. I feel like I've never seen so many freaking semi-trucks.
Well, isn't the issue the ports?
That's what it seems like.
They're all congested right now because the demand for
everything.
Yeah, but I was reading an article, or maybe I was listening to something, but it was making the case for most Christmas presents this year that you would usually be able to get within a few weeks are going to be good luck with that.
I believe it.
And then were you talking Amazon as well?
Everything. Although, what was it? Costco and maybe Walmart are starting to hire their own ships. As a business owner, you have to kind of figure out a way to remedy this problem, because if you don't, you are going to go out of business because you don't have any products to sell. So this AntiWork thing is starting to pick up a bit of traction on Reddit. So if you don't know what Reddit is, it's a community online. It's kind of a social network, but it's
a bunch of fucking, what's the thing called? Incels in their basements.
Yeah.
Rubbing fucking maple syrup all over their naked bodies while they watch QAnon YouTube videos. Well, Odyssey, I guess.
This particular subreddit, they call it, it's kind of like a group.
Do you Reddit? Are you a Reddit guy?
I used to be a pretty heavy Reddit guy back when I worked at the painting facility up in Portland, painting aircrafts on my night shift. I would be on Reddit all the time because it's entertaining.
Well, you remember Sam?
Yeah, he was a big Redditor.
It was every
time we took a shit, he was Redditing.
He was shedditing.
If you've never gone on Reddit, it's quite a diverse place. Usually at a certain point, if I scroll too long on it, I find something I wish I didn't see, and that's when it's like, okay, I'm done here.
There's an episode in Reddit's founder supposedly killed himself.
Oh, that sounds kind of vaguely familiar, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, Aaron Swartz.
Oh. Wow, he was involved in the development of RSS. That is pretty much what runs all blogs and all podcasts.
Dude, he's the one. They killed him, man. This is an episode we really need to do.
And a website framework for WebP. Wow. And joined the social news site Reddit 6 months after its founding.
He must have helped it become what it is. He wasn't its founder, though.
Right. Well, there's an episode.
Look at his fucking dates, man. Died January 11th, 2013. That's a number. 11/8/86. Birthday. Cause of death, suicide by hanging.
Back to this AntiWork subreddit, they call it. It's like a mini group on Reddit. So this group has almost 900,000 people. The little about this community is a subreddit for those who want to end work, are curious about ending work, want to get the most out of a work-free life, want more information on anti-work ideas, and want personal help with their own job/work-related struggles.
I'm sure you're going to get into this, but can I just ask, are these people wanting a fucking government handout? They've
definitely mentioned UBI. Apparently this Reddit forum was originally created kind of discussing...
A long time ago, too. 2013.
Yeah. So somebody here made a post about they've been in it for over a year, And in the beginning, it was clearly anti-capitalist subreddit and not focused on workers' rights and the means of production, but also the true reduction of unnecessary work. A large portion of the subreddit was centered on the eventual removal of jobs that unnecessarily require human labor, in favor of things like universal income.
So they want robots to do everything and us to get paid.
Yep. It focused on the future in which one's worth is not determined by one's labor, and the idea that one day labor would be contributed to where we need it, not where capitalism demands it. And see, this is something that doesn't really make sense to me, because capitalism demands labor where it's needed. Otherwise,
I'll take the devil's advocate position on that, because when capitalism gets huge and global, you see moves such as us shipping our food to China and then having them process it and ship it back to us. That's when capitalism is a little fucking off the rails.
Right.
So what you're talking about, like your anarcho,
I'm talking
not
about
crony capitalism.
Right, exactly. I'm talking about pure capitalism.
Yeah. Well, I just want to know that argument will be made by the fucking socialists.
No, that's true. And that's
I mean, I've dated like so many of them. I know their arguments head to toe.
Well, and that's something that should be discussed, because at a certain point there is capitalism that doesn't follow the rules of everyday monetary policy. The fact that it is cheaper somehow to ship raw fabric or
it's not
raw
cheaper,
material.
It's more of a moneymaker.
True. Good point. Yes.
Like,
good way to put it.
It can't be cheaper.
Clearly, there is some gross miscalculation somewhere. Somebody hoodwinked the finance department to make them see that it's more profitable to do this.
And if you bite the hand that feeds, you just lose your cut.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's going to bitch about this. None of the people that matter.
And see, I think I'm more for capitalism in a smaller sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
that's how it works. Just like communism. Communism works if it's a village.
If there's only a few people, that's true.
And they usually use some form of capitalism, by the way, within that communism.
They would have to, right?
They do.
In order to make some money, in order to...
I mean, if you look at history, it wasn't ever like those two things were
diametrically
not working together, because they were.
To continue on what this person is talking about as far as the evolution of this subreddit, some considered it naive, the proposition that they originally had.
Well, in 2013, it probably sounded naive, right?
Right.
Has this thing gained traction lately?
Oh, yes. Okay. Within the last year, for sure.
Okay.
So others consider it necessary in the way of automation. Automation is near inevitable, so it comes down to us to determine what happens to the people it replaces.
Is Michael Yang in this at all?
Well, I'm sure that Andrew Yang's...
Excuse me.
Andrew Yang. I'm sure that his conversation has helped shed the light on this, but also so has Elon Musk. Elon Musk has talked about this extensively, about one day a majority of jobs are going to be done by robots, and what are we going to do with all the humans who suddenly feel like they don't have a purpose in life?
Feed them to the robots. I've seen that movie at least 12 times. Different iterations of said movie.
So that was then. But with the Great Resignation, over 40 million people leaving their jobs and strikes happening every day, the subreddit AntiWork has now become the place for Reddit on workers' rights discussions. So,
wait a minute, what?
I don't know if you've heard about this Great Resignation that kind of happened within the last month or so, where a bunch of people decided to resign at the same time.
I've heard, well, not like a sick out.
No, this is like they're fully resigning. Yeah. Over 40 million people have left their jobs.
Well, what time frame?
I think within the last few months.
That's what I was looking for. I don't see it in there.
So recently the subreddit has swung. It's lively now with over 100,000 new members, so it's gotten quite a bit of traction recently. And it's not surprising that many of those are liberals. Within the sub, more and more, its focus is placed on living wages, the right to not be shit on by bosses and degraded as a laborer first and the human second. It's
you know
beautiful.
what? If that's your fucking point of view, you don't deserve to call yourself a liberal. I'm sorry, that's my opinion on that.
Expand on that.
Where did you read that list of things that they want? Right before I interrupted you.
Focus on living wages, the right not to be shit on by bosses and degraded as a laborer first and human second.
Yeah. To me, if you're a liberal person, you don't want the government to step in and regulate how people treat you. If we're talking classic old school liberalism.
I was going to say, but you're not talking about the new age liberal.
I am, because I don't like that they stole that fucking word. I guess you could call them progressives, but that's even demeaning to progressives. This is a new thing. This is like neo-commie shit. It makes Bernie Sanders supporters look like fucking they weren't that radical. this stuff.
Right.
And it's not liberal.
You want to expand on that a little bit for people who are...
I mean,
because, I didn't learn about this stuff until probably like Dave Rubin got on my radar of like,
okay, yes, Dave Rubin is your prototypical purveyor of this idea that conservatism in our modern day is classical liberalism. And he's right in a sense, as also libertarianism, which is a fairly new concept. A lot of people think libertarianism was always kind of like a third party. That's very recent. The word libertarian and the word liberal are derived from the word liberty. This isn't that.
No.
This is
federalism.
I want my fucking way of life to be regulated by the government, to step in and make sure that my employer is treating me fairly and that I'm making a fair wage. That's also anti-liberalism. That was the one point I was making. Like, you could look into that. You could read Murray Rothbard. You could start listening to some more libertarian leaning podcasts, and you can even watch Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin's a little...
Start watching his early day stuff maybe first.
Well, he's a little extreme. He went from being like waking up as a liberal Democrat to seeing the horse shit that he was laying in to just going full fucking Trump-tard.
Yep.
I love Dave Rubin. I listen to him on the regular basis, but I also like take what he says with a grain of salt. He's like a couple notches below Tucker.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take Dave over Tucker any day.
Yeah.
But they're in the same cookie cutter, new anti-liberal.
Right.
So
I just don't like when people try to like put people into boxes, because most people
like identity politics.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you're a liberal. Oh, you're a Republican. Oh, you're alt-right. Like, most people do not fit in just one of those boxes so perfectly.
People these days box themselves in.
Very true. They decide to grab that and make that their
Well, it's like,
stick.
How do I feel about something? I better go look and see
how everybody else feels. Yeah.
Because they know that they'll get canceled if they happen to diverge from that acceptable path.
Right. This group is kind of going through a little bit of evolution as far as what it really is here for, because as this guy says, he's interested in where these two sides meet, because it's kind of swung recently to be more about the workers' rights or terrible bosses. And here's the thing, is that I think people forget that they have a choice in who they're employed by.
No, you don't. The government gets to decide that for you if you're a part of this group. But they don't want to work.
That's the thing. They do not want to work. They want to be lazy.
So their choice of who employs me is nobody.
Right.
I deserve money.
They just want a paycheck.
Dude, I'm sorry. I mean, I usually try to see the like pros and cons of an argument. I don't see any pros here.
I know. This thread has recently become a very large people telling their bosses off in text.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's like a TikTok challenge?
I guess so.
Instead of, have you seen those ones where they're dry scooping?
No.
It's a new trend called dry scooping, and it is not like a sex position. It's taking spoonfuls of protein powder without water. This is dumber than the Tide Pod bullshit.
Take a look at some of these things. Here's somebody saying, you don't hate Mondays, you hate capitalism. No, you hate your job.
You hate your life, too.
Yeah, I personally love Mondays and I hate Fridays. So what the fuck does that say about me?
You're a workaholic piece of shit.
I know, right? See, that's the thing. I hate that this has become something where, like, if you love your job, if you love what you're doing for work, then something's wrong with you.
Well, you gotta admit that there is that group of people that it is an addiction.
It is.
They're filling a void with work. It does exist. I'm not saying that's you, because I don't think that is you. But it's an argument to be made for people who hate Fridays. You hate Fridays?
Yeah, I don't. I don't like Fridays.
Because you're like, God damn it, I got to come up with a podcast episode in the next couple of days.
No, it's more that, fuck, I got all this shit to do and I didn't finish it all. And now I can't work on any of it.
You have a unique perspective being a small business owner, because I get to walk away from my job going, I don't give a fuck what's going on here. Right. I'm going to not think about it until Monday morning on my drive to work.
Yeah.
And if I ever bought that company,
It'd be different.
I would not enjoy Fridays. I mean, the real job for me starts on Friday. The unpaying job so far.
I started to notice this sentiment mainly around people my age with people I worked with in the workplace.
Jeremiah's 53, by the way. I know he looks great for his age. It's that vegan diet.
So I'm the classic millennial, right? I'm in that age group, and I'm one of the few millennials that actually wanted to work hard at my job.
Jeremiah's only had, for a person in his late 20s, he's probably had more jobs than a lot of people will die with.
Probably, for sure.
What would you say? You've had 15 jobs at this point?
Yeah, I can't track them all. I mean, let's see here.
Just off the top of my head, the ones I know about. You got
at least
over 10.
At least 10, for sure. We could probably count a few of them as double, newspaper route.
Talking about when you got a paycheck for longer than like a fucking couple months.
Right, yeah.
That's a job.
Yeah, definitely more than can be listed on one page of a resume. I noticed it started to get easier and easier to stand out in the workplace.
Because the bar's so low?
The bar's so fucking low. It's incredible. It almost got to the point where, like, this is humorous that this is the bar. Because I'm working my ass off and I look like a total fucking stud because nobody else is coming to this level, whereas I'm just
you would have
working.
been like you would have fit in really well if like the 80s like Wolves of Wall Street type fucking generation. You would have been at the peak of your game in there because you would have had more competition. Your bar
I would have probably been exactly.
Like, you would have been hanging out with Jordan Belfort on a yacht.
Whereas that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to exit the workplace was because the competition wasn't there anymore.
Oh, you wanted the competition.
I wanted the competition, and it's like me. What happened is inevitably what would happen is after a year, I'd be like, this is boring. There's no place for me to grow outside of this, Usually get a raise pretty quickly, usually get admiration from the manager or boss.
They're like, dude, you need to stay here for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We can't hire anybody good.
Right.
Yeah, they want to keep
you. They definitely always wanted to keep me, and it's like, that's why I have to leave.
You know your value.
Yes. And that's the thing is, I understood that I was getting paid less than I'm worth. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out pretty quickly, that if you start working above the baseline, it's pretty easy to realize that you're not getting paid what you're worth. But typically, depending on the workplace, within a few months, you would get recognized with that. Certainly, I've worked in large factories where oh, yes, you're doing a great job. Here's a quarter raise. And you're like, oh, fuck you.
Oh, you mean 25 cents quarter raise?
Yes. And you're like, wow, how nice of you. Okay, I'm going to go find another job.
I can afford to buy the name brand can of corn now at the grocery store instead of Signature.
So this gets talked about in the circles of computer science, software developers, software engineers, all of that talk. When I was getting trained in that, they always talked about whatever your first job is, don't expect to stay there a long time. After a couple years, if you want a pay raise, go get a new job. Because you'll get a higher pay raise by switching employers than you would by staying at the same employer.
And you're benefiting your resume.
Yes. And you're also just going to get a more diverse skill set, like you say, with the resume, as far as you're going to expand your knowledge base. But I think too many people think that, oh, well, I'm getting a job at McDonald's or at Walmart or somewhere, and I just need to climb the ladder. But I'm sorry, that is long gone. And if you can't see the writing on the wall, that you need to be in charge of your own retirement and in charge of your own future, then you clearly have not been paying attention.
I'm starting to see a theme in these stories that you've picked lately, and the emphasis you have on people being responsible for themselves.
Oh.
All I've got to say is, man, misinformation. I don't agree with you at all. I think that the thing to do is join this subreddit, become a fat fuck, and enter a story that I'm going to be talking about later. It's all connected.
You know what's funny is I could have the opportunity to collect unemployment because I was technically laid off. I want hunger. You
want to be driven to succeed.
Exactly. I want to be a hungry wolf.
Or fucking die!
that needs to go fucking attack his prey and take it down in order to eat his next meal.
By the way, we need a free producer. We need somebody who's the opposite of these anti-work cunts.
Yeah, we need somebody who's
We
willing
need a pro worker.
We need somebody who's willing to work for free for a while.
Well, investing in the future of CPT and becoming a part of that on the ground floor. And I think don't line up to send your resumes. We already have somebody. Just got to get her on board.
There's one more tweet here that somebody shared. Billionaire, in quotes, isn't a qualification. It's the description of a person who's hoarding more resources than they could use in 100 lifetimes while other people are starving. It's the name of a human dragon sleeping on its pile of rubies and gold.
So this bitch works for a billionaire?
I don't know. She's verified.
Well, this is her. You were talking the trend of this is to her employer.
I don't know. It could be.
But didn't you just say that all these?
Well, see, it's because it's
they
the
could be
sentiment.
hypothetical.
Yes, it's the sentiment towards people who have a massive amount. And somebody says, "Hey, Jeffrey."
She works for Jeffrey Epstein. She's like, "Why did you fake your death?"
So here's my problem with this: people calling out all these millionaires and billionaires, and Elon Musk gets pulled into this thing.
I got to tell you, Bernie used to call out millions and billionaires
And
until he became the former.
Yes.
Now he just calls out the latter.
So here's the thing:
You want to become a billionaire? You write a book. That was his fucking response to that shit. It was like, whoa, you sound like everything you were just railing against the last 30 fucking years of your political career.
So, but here's my issue with people calling these people out. So, Elon Musk is a prime example of this. He's
back on the team, Elon.
He's back on the. Well, maybe not. So one of the issues is that on paper he's worth billions of dollars, but
it's all going back into his businesses.
It's stock that he owns.
Yeah.
It's assets. It's not money in the bank. It's not in his wallet.
Not Jimmy Buffett. Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Wasting away again in Margaritaville.
Even Warren Buffett.
Well, he's investments.
His investments.
But
yeah.
Still,
I'm sure that
he
gets,
lives on the billions. I bet.
I don't
think
but
Elon does.
But also Warren Buffett
Elon
still
lives on
in
his fucking wife's music checks.
But Warren
She does all
Buffett
the work.
still lives in a house that he bought like 30 years ago.
He also has an underground tunnel system below that house.
Probably does.
Goes to Dreamland and
hey, you know
Disney
what?
World.
I would probably have an underground bunker too if I was a billionaire. Anyways, I think
That should be a bumper sticker.
I'd have an underground bunker if I was a billionaire. An abundance audiobook I listened to, and he says you should have a bumper sticker that says "I love the rich," because otherwise you'll never be rich. If you say you hate the rich, you'll never be rich because you'll hate.
Well, you would also not be driving in a car right now. So you wouldn't even be able to have that bumper sticker. There'd be no fucking cars on the road if some rich people didn't get to fucking experiment, throw a bunch of metal together in weird ways. Like,
That's very true.
the people who are anti-capitalism are the ones who are usually tweeting about it on their fucking iPhone while they drink a fucking
LaCroix
craft coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that's an old trope and it's not original, but it's fucking true. I live in Southern Oregon.
I just don't understand why people think that they can just get shit for free.
Because it works for them. That's what they care about. They're fucking egotistical, narcissistic fucks. That's the new generation. And there's like the one below them. I love what they're doing. Those kids are going to fucking ruin this world that is being built right now. There's a few that are like their parents are probably making them wear masks as soon as they can fucking get out of their diapers. But like the shit that kids are pulling in grade school right now, I see like these memes on the internet, like teachers complaining. It's like fucking, it's brilliant. Now this generation that's coming into the work field right now, that's who we're dealing with.
I think also another thing is a lot of these people anti-work are against profit, and it seems like a lot of people think that profit is bad when profit is what you get when you are rewarded for your efforts.
Hey, we were just talking about this.
Daily reminder that Henry Ford did not, quote, invent the 40-hour work week or the 8-hour day. It was one of the central demands for some of the most important worker action ever. Workers had been organizing for it for more than 40 years before he implemented it.
It's not to say he was a great man, by the way.
No, but, I mean...
I know a lot of people think that. I've been listening to talk radio.
He's kind of reminds me a little bit of Steve Jobs, where...
Did Steve Jobs hate Jews too?
where Steve Jobs was known as a total asshole, but he also like knew how to get shit done. And a lot of
Steve
people
Jobs didn't give a fuck if you liked him.
No, because he had a
actually
mission.
probably didn't want you to, really, when it came down to it.
Right.
Kind of like Bezos has that same mentality.
Um,
He wants fear out of
well,
his employees.
I don't know if. Yeah, it's hard to say.
I don't know about Steve Jobs. I'm speaking for Bezos in the 80s
Yeah.
was saying that in this
Right.
fucking VHS video he made before he was muscular, before he got that
Before he
adrenochrome.
got hair, before he grew hair, suddenly.
This just makes me, like, I always thought that the whole World Economic Forum, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Oh.
Then nobody would fucking take that, but that's essentially what these people want. They want their basic needs and services to be fucking handed to them by their government, and that's like fucking edgy now to think that way. That's like the rock star mentality.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're the bad guys. And I saw this thing the other day, and I didn't look into it long enough to know if it was true or not, but some fucking huge internet site, we might need to look this up, said that our founding documents are to be considered misinformation and dangerous.
Have you noticed a lot of places are saying now hiring teenagers? I think it was McDonald's that was trying to hire teenagers too. So something I really wanted to actually say here, they are planning a walkout on Black Friday. You just need to be aware of this
They
happening.
meaning this subreddit?
anti-work subreddit.
And
yes.
how many members do they have again?
About 900,000. So it's a pinned post. Anti-work mega thread, blackout Black Friday. Profit is theft is what this person's. At the request of the community, the mod team wants to support individuals who participate in Blackout Black Friday for the hospitality and retail sectors. These sectors have long been underpaid, underappreciated, and overworked. Workers in the sector that choose to withhold their labor should do so with the possibility of losing their job in mind. In solidarity of these workers, consumers should withhold their purchasing power from employers that choose to open for this day. The thread is for the individuals to brainstorm, discuss mutual aid, and ways in which the event could be impactful. Also, artists are encouraged to submit anti-work art and possible alternatives to the sub-logo.
Good. Fuck Black Friday.
Well, yes, I agree that Black Friday is horrible.
Well, it's Cyber Monday now anyway.
It is, but
It's been
but still,
replaced officially.
what's happened now, I started to notice this trend within the last 3 or 4 years of Black Friday wasn't Black Friday anymore. All of a sudden, Walmart and all these other places were like, Black Friday starts Thursday night. It started happening earlier and earlier and earlier.
Eat their turkey and then rush to
And
the
then rushed
shopping
to-
malls.
Yep. So like the deal started like 6 p.m. on fucking Thursday.
You know what, man? It's another sign of unchecked fucking advertised capitalism right there. Like,
But see,
they're
the-
making all these
but-
people work on Thanksgiving
Here's
so
the
that
thing,
the
though.
fat fucks can come buy shit.
I was gonna say though, here's the thing: is we did it to ourselves by going and buying it.
Trust me, I know that. There's that wonderful South Park episode about Walmart where it's like the Matrix 2. They meet the architect, and then there's like, you want to know the source of evil capitalism?
And it's all the fucking people.
Well, he says go over there, and it's just a mirror on the wall. And it was like the big,
totally
the
is.
big reveal.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a problem with all these things, don't fucking support them.
I agree with that 100%.
If you don't support them. Now, here's the other argument, though.
Do you know these people that work on Thanksgiving, though? They're getting double pay.
Usually,
At
yeah.
Best Buy and shit and
Yeah.
Walmart, like, if
But-
they're working on Thanksgiving night for Black Thursday.
How many of them get the choice to do that?
None of them. It's be like, how long have you been here? Well, you don't get a choice.
Right.
Like, if you've been
If
here.
you just started 6 months ago, you get to work. But here's the thing: is I remember when I was working the labor force, it was expected that first year I would not take any days off unless I absolutely had to.
even holidays.
Yeah, I would not take vacation days. Like, I just understood that it was like the sacrifice that you had to make with starting in a new position.
Well, there's a line of people behind you.
Exactly.
Well,
Not anymore.
Was.
Yeah. So if you don't want to support these companies, if you don't like what they're doing, then stop buying from them. Here's the flip side of that sword, is if you look into BlackRock and how much stuff BlackRock owns, BlackRock Finance.
Oh, I always get them mixed up with Blackwater.
Yes.
BlackRock.
BlackRock. They own just about everything in the store, just about every company, every major company. They own a percentage of it, a large percentage. They own a lot of things. There's a video, if you look up like what company owns the world. Somebody did a really good piece on breaking down everything that they own, and they own a lot. Now, that is to say, though, that you could still shop extremely local small businesses that are not publicly traded. But even then, you have to be careful about what you're buying in those stores, because it might be more corporatized stuff that they own in those stores. I don't know what the solution is, but the solution is definitely not working. I think there's going to be more walkouts. I think we are only just starting to see the employment force dwindle, and it's not because of robots. It's because people are saying F you to working these jobs, which maybe they need to find a different job or like get their shit together.
And for those of you who don't want to miss out on Black Friday or Black Thursday, I suggest you go buy your 58-inch smart digital television with all the spyware included on White Wednesday. Hashtag White Wednesday starting it here at CPT. It's not racist. It's just not black.
Take this job and shove it.